Good evening, Patriots. Please bear with me a second. I'm going to invite a few people. All right. Okay. So basically, I just wanted to cover a couple things. I've been asked numerous times where I stand on this Maxime Bernier thing leaving the PC. So I'm going to give you my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. But I'll tell you what I think. I think that we need to replace the Liberal government. That's pretty obvious. They've put us in debt. They don't care about Canadians. And Justin Trudeau is probably the biggest traitor and will go down in history as the biggest traitor to this country ever was. I don't know personally if I'd want to leave such a legacy, but I believe that's going to be Trudeau's legacy as a Canadian traitor, and he's going to have to bear his head in shame for the rest of his life, and justifiably so. With that said, I also believe that the PC government has been compromised. I believe that the PC party has lost a lot of credibility. I think that Andrew Scheer is a backpedaler and he's weak. He's out there kissing as many butts as Justin Trudeau. I swear to God, between Scheer and Trudeau, those guys are kissing more butts than a toilet seat. They're out there catering to all the minorities, afraid to call it the way it is. Listen, if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, well, guess what? It's a duck. And this Liberal government is, trying to hide all the real news and funding fake news. And that's the agenda, is they think that all Canadians are stupid. And that's an insult to all Canadians to think that we're just stupid and that they can just snow us and bullshit their way through governing this country. We know there's terrorism going on in this country. We know that there's been numerous acts of terrorism in this country. And fact of the matter is, they're sweeping it under the carpet. They're coming up with lame excuses like mental illness. And again, I've said this numerous times. I'd like to see the documents proving these people are mentally ill. They have to have been diagnosed before you can just label them as mentally ill. Come on. So I believe the PC government's been compromised. I think that if you elect Andrew Scheer, you're going to have another 4 years of more or less the Trudeau government. I think they will mimic the Trudeau government and do everything that the Trudeau government is doing, leaving our borders wide open, making hardworking, tax-paying Canadians pay the bill for immigrants that are coming in this country. It's not immigration, it's an invasion. They're trying to take this country over. This is no secret. And those of us that are awake know that what's going on. And the government is trying to make this look like, oh, it's immigration and we're really nice and we accept everybody. Well, you shouldn't be accepting people into your country that were out there, ISIS fighters killing people. You shouldn't accept them back in your country. You shouldn't accept people into your country that clearly have an agenda of taking over this country. And they may not do it with war, but they will outpopulate us. By letting mass immigration come into this country, you are watering down the host culture. Ask our First Nations people how mass immigration worked out for them. They're now second-class citizens in their own country. Soon to be third class, because we're going to be second class. People with legit immigration documents who have come through the front door, and paid thousands of dollars and waited a long time and had to jump through numerous hoops to be allowed into this country. What a slap in the face to these people when they're watching these illegal immigrants crossing our borders. Illegally. Why? They're fleeing the United States because Trump's going to throw them out because they're there illegally. They broke federal law by being in the States illegally. So now they break another federal law and cross into our country illegally. They break 2 federal laws and Trudeau's compensating them. Does that make any sense whatsoever? I'll tell you who's got mental illness. The Trudeau government's got mental illness. Trudeau has mental illness. His mother had mental illness. And it's generic. He has mental illness as well. Canadians get killed and he goes to BC to serve board. He's on holidays, doesn't give a shit about us Canadians. And I'm getting pretty fed up with it. And I think that if you elect Scheer, you're going to get the same. I heard Scheer and Rumpel, I listened to the interview. They identified a problem. Oh, we got cut off for a second there. But they identified a problem, they criticized the problem, but offered no solutions to the problem. If anything, it was nothing but bashing the Trudeau government like children. Rumpel and Scheer sat there and, oh my God, they call us names and they call us names and the racists and everything. Really? That's what our government's been reduced to? To name calling and crying about it? A bunch of crybabies up there, a bunch of lunatics, a bunch of elite people that have had silver spoons in their mouths all their lives and don't understand real trials and tribulations that the average Canadian goes through living paycheck to paycheck. They're oblivious to this. And being oblivious to this, they're treating you like crap. And they're stealing from you. Our governments are morally bankrupt, to put it mildly. The NDP, the Liberals, and the PC government are morally bankrupt. So I think that Maxime sees that. I think that Maxime broke away from that for those reasons. And I'm hearing a lot of people, oh, it's dividing the vote, it's dividing the vote. Well, fact of the matter is, it shouldn't divide the vote. We should all just support Maxime Bernier. Don't vote for Scheer at all. Everybody get united and everybody vote for Bernier. Listen, if you listen to what patriots say, if you listen to what C3 says and what our mission statement is about, if you go under About on our page, you click on About, there's our mission statement. It has a lot of resemblance to what Bernier's been saying. Canadians first. Close our borders. We do not understand an ideology that kills people, that does FGM to little girls, female genital mutilation, that totally not condemns, but persecutes women and children and animals. The animal must be killed in a cruel manner. Women have got to hide and we can only see their eyes. Why would anybody want to cover one of the most beautiful creations on earth, and that's a woman? Being a man, I mean, I enjoy nature and I think trees are nice and I love dogs and I love animals. But I'll tell you, if there's a creature and if there's something on the planet that I truly appreciate, that's a woman. They're unequaled on the planet. One of the most beautiful things walking on this planet today is a woman, as far as a man's concerned. So why wouldn't you be proud of having the woman that you love be out there expressing her free will, dressing in a bikini if she wants? If she wants to go to the beach in a bikini, why would you not endorse that? It's her free will she's expressing. She feels good about her body and has no shame in showing it. Why should there be shame in showing one's body? I'm telling you, the whole ideology is corrupt, it's misogynistic, and it's evil. Plain and simple. So this is only my opinion, but I think that we should all unite behind Maxime Bernier. And if everybody was to get behind Maxime Bernier and vote him in, I think we'd make headway. I don't think that voting in the PC government, we're making headway. I think that if you vote in the PC government, you're just going to get 4 more years of the Trudeau crap. They're afraid to stand up and say we're going to close the borders. Trump says it. He's got no problem saying it. And I'll tell you, that's the party that's going to win the Canadian confidence, and true Canadian patriots, that's who they're going to vote for, is the government that's going to close our borders and protect Canadian citizens, that are going to lower taxes and help us enjoy what should be a normal way of life. But no, the Liberals are spending our money like drunken sailors, and not on Canadians, on everybody but Canadians. And who paid for that money and who put that money there? Canadians. So why shouldn't we be reaping the rewards? We don't have an obligation to save the world. What our government does have an obligation to do is to protect its citizens and to try to offer them a good way of life. That is what our government should be doing and trying to do for its citizens. But no, what are they doing? They're lining their pockets. They're bringing in people that hate us. They're endorsing ISIS fighters, bringing that back into the country. I mean, you got to be a lunatic. Come on, to bring that kind of people back into the country. So there are issues in this government, and we must resolve them. So we got a year. We have a year to see what's going to happen. I mean, if the PC government backtracks and says, okay, we're going to stand up for you. We're going to fund the veterans and the military like they should be. We're going to take care of our elderly and our retired people first, and then we'll try to do humanitarian acts around the world if we can afford it. And we're going to make damn sure that if someone immigrates to this country, that he's willing to integrate and work for a living and pay taxes and be a contributing, positive member of our society. If not, we shouldn't allow him in the country. We shouldn't be allowing welfare recipients into the country. And that's what seems to be happening. Trudeau wants to remove from the immigration book that immigrants must get work, that immigrants can't live on social assistance. He wants to remove that from the book. Come on. Trudeau, and for those of you that don't know what's going on, please research C71. Please research C75. Please research M103. Just those 3 things. C71, C75, M103. And I'll tell you, if you endorse what these things have brought into our legislation, you've got issues, buddy. Just like I don't mind saying it to the libtards that they have mental issues. Anybody that is a parent and has children and endorses open borders and bringing in immigrants that are causing deaths in this country. There's been terrorist acts in this country. People have died in Canada. Let's not sugarcoat this. It is what it is. There are terrorist acts going on. And who's running this country? A government that's not even endorsed. A government that's not even real. These are self-appointed people way back that started this, and now they've been lying to us for 100 years, more 300 years almost, And they're trying to, they put themselves in a position of leadership. Then 150 years ago, they formed a government, self-proclaimed government. Nobody voted these people in. They were people with money and smart people, and they put themselves there. So this government, the Canadian government, is not real. The Canadian government does not exist. They shouldn't even be flying that Canadian flag on Parliament building because they are not a legal government. Canada is recognized on the world market only by a business number. The world market knows that Canada's government doesn't exist. The world market knows that our government is nothing but a business number and truly has no say on what we say or do. They really don't. The police that are hired by this government that really doesn't exist, they have no jurisdiction over you. Not really. But we've been lied to for centuries, and people just buy it. The libtards. Those people on the left that think that, oh, Trudeau's doing a great job. Those people on the left that say, no, open our borders, let these people in. They're refugees after all. A refugee does not come from the United States wearing Nike running shoes, carrying Gucci bags, and holding a cell phone. I'm sorry, but that is not the definition of a refugee. And any government that endorses people illegally crossing our borders and breaking federal law is a traitor. Plain and simple. Let's call it what it is. Our governments have failed us. Our political parties are all corrupt. They don't run the show. The elite behind the scenes run the show. Big business runs the show. I heard stories where big companies said, you know what, we got to lay off some people. We're not making enough money. Corporate greed, you know. We're not making enough money. We got to lay people off. So the government said, and actually, let's start the story from the beginning. They get a tax bill. Big corporation gets a big tax bill. Oh, we got to pay these taxes. So what did they say? Well, we can't afford to pay these taxes without laying people off. We got to lay people off to pay these taxes. So what does the government do? Oh, well, tell you what, don't pay the taxes. Just keep the people that you have. Don't lay off anybody and don't pay the taxes. So now this company doesn't even have to pay taxes. And the company, you got to remember how greedy they are. Well, they say, tell you what, thank you for the gift. Year, but fact is we're still going to lay those people off because we want to make even more money. So what does the government do? The government says, we'll write you a check. Okay, so you don't have to pay taxes, and we will write you a check if you keep all your employees. That's what's going on. Big corporations are really holding the government hostage. Why? Why, you ask? Because our government is weak and they let this happen. No. You tell the company, you pay your taxes like everybody else, and you can't lay anybody off or we'll shut you down. We'll let another company open. We'll let the rival company shut you down. Because if you quit producing, the guy next door will benefit. Don't accept these corporate threats. Only a weak government would let this happen, and they do, because our government is weak. And they're accepting payoffs. They're getting paid through the back door. They're being funded. That's how they get elected. These big companies say, well, you know what, if you don't let me do this or that, I'm not going to fund you next year, so you won't get elected. Do you see the problem here? We need a guy like Trump that knows business, that's willing to play hard-nosed with those companies, I'd have no problem telling these companies, yeah, you're going to threaten us with not paying tax. We'll tell you what, we will fund someone else to open a company just like yours. And we're going to shut you down. You don't want to be a contributing revenue to the country? These big corporations and the rich always looking for loopholes? Well, shut them down. Take away their livelihood. You know, and you can do it in a democratic fashion. You open a rival company. And I'll tell you, that was the great thing about small business in Canada. And small business, by the way, is who supports this country, and the government's trying to kill them too. But it's called competition. All these small businesses competing against each other, that drives the prices down. Joe lowers the price of his tomatoes across the street because he wants to sell more tomatoes than you do. You have to lower the price of your tomatoes so that you can keep selling tomatoes. What's happening is it's going to be Costco, Walmart, and those big stores. You're seeing it happen. All the mom and pop stores are closing and these big corporations are opening, and these corporations don't pay taxes. No, the guys that work for them for $14 an hour and $15 an hour, they pay the taxes. They're what's supporting the government. That's why the government is they're seeing this revenue diminish because they're killing these people. So what do? They come up with new taxes, carbon tax and what have you. You know, I like what Ford's doing, and he's a PC. Unfortunately, Ford threw Bernie off under the bus, and that's what they do to each other. It's a terrible thing, but instead of bringing solutions to helping the country, they just slander each other and throw each other under the bus. You know, terrible goings on in our government. So I'm thinking, if Maxime Bernier was to get full support where we could elect this guy, you'd see change. So don't cry and say it's dividing the vote. Just don't vote for PC and vote for Maxime Bernier's new party. It might be a party by the people, for the people, because definitely these other parties have lost their way. It's about lining their pockets and not helping typical Canadians. So that's my rant for tonight. I want to remind everybody that we're having the True Patriots Vigil on September 9th at the corner of Danforth and Logan. That's in Toronto. We start at 3 o'clock. We're going to try to go till 6. If we don't have enough people there, we'll shut it down early. Doesn't matter. But we're calling people to come and pray because this is not a protest. This is not a rally. This is a vigil offering our respects and condolences to all those affected by terrorism around the world. And we're doing it Danforth and Logan because we feel that those young women that had their lives stolen from them by a clear terrorist deserve a memorial by the true patriots. I know they've had a memorial there by the libtards and everything, but we know that the libtards are not true patriots. They're not in the know. They don't know what's going on. And people that are in the know and know what's going on deserve to make a stand together. All of us. You leave your issues at home. I've got issues with some people out there. I plan on leaving them right here. I'm going to leave them here and I'm going to drive out there with no issues with nobody. And I'm endorsing any single person that has the heart and will give some of his time to show up at this vigil. This will show the left that we're not bad people, that we know what's going on and that we don't endorse terrorism in the world, and that we want to offer prayer and our condolences to those affected by terrorism worldwide. So again, it's going to be July, so used to saying that. It's going to be September 9th at 3 o'clock at the corner of Danforth and Logan in Toronto, and we invite everyone to come and share in this great moment. And if anybody shows to oppose this, you will get to witness true mental illness. Because if anybody that would oppose a vigil, people paying respects to people affected by terrorism's got mental illness. So if we have any opposition, we'll make sure to film them, because Canada needs to see the true mental illness. Okay? We're not Nazis. We're not racists. C3 is a multicultural group. And I'd like to invite more people to join C3. And I'd also like to see more people that are on our page step up and become full t-shirt wearing members and help us in these great events that we've been holding, like this vigil. We're trying to open Canada-wide. We've got some leaders in some provinces other than Ontario, but Ontario is the largest group by far. But we've got a leader in Newfoundland, Troy Rubia. He's probably watching right now. Reach out to Troy Rubia if you live in the Newfoundland, Labrador area, and he can sign you up and you can become a full member, and there's leadership roles still needed in that area. We have somebody in Saskatchewan, AJ Capeller, but there's leadership roles available in that province as well. So far, we just have poor AJ up there trying to work it alone. He's a Saskatchewan president, but we need a VP, we need guardsmen, we need SAAs. So there's numerous leadership positions. If you feel that you want to make a difference, that you have a little bit of time, that you can help the movement, this is probably the group for you. We've got, in Alberta, we've got Maxine, that's our VP. Maxine Stewart, that's our VP. We have Alan Thompson, he's the Alberta president. We have Lance BP, he's president in BC. So, you know, we could use somebody in Quebec and Manitoba, and, you know, we could use some more leaders, some more members. I'll tell you, the members that are in C3 really enjoy it. They feel that they're doing something positive with their lives. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the decade, nobody will be pointing the finger at you for not trying to save this great country. I'll tell you that. I'm going to be offered the luxury to point the finger at many that could have helped that didn't. But I go to bed at night knowing that I'm trying to do something positive for this country. I've got 4 children. I've got a grandchild and 2 more grandchildren on the way. So I have a responsibility to my family to protect them. And that's what a patriot does, and that's what a true Canadian does. That's the morals and the scruples that we've been given the way we were raised in this country. We were raised in a peaceful manner, and we were raised to accept many and accept almost all ideologies and all cultures. But if there's a culture out there that wants to cut your head off, that is mutilating young girls, that is persecuting women, children, that kills animals in a terrible and cruel manner, you don't have to endorse that. And you're not a Nazi for not endorsing that. You're just a good person. So I'm inviting good people, because so far C3, that's why we're not a million members, because we're selective in who we accept, and we're all good people. I'd like to thank Roger Rowan, my national vice president, Dan Unruh, my Ontario president, Ryan McLean, my Ontario VP, the captains we have around Ontario, like Randy Lamirant, his wife Andrea, Jason Folington and Rayanne, great people, all full members. You know, Catlin, my son, Jason, and Rick Connolly, Jason Heikala actually. You know, all these great members, Bruno Forrest and his girlfriend Nancy. You know, these are all great people and great patriots that put time aside to stand up for you. So we need help. There's no doubt about it. So I'm sending out a plea to please join C3 as a full member and help us save this country. Help us show the way to the libtards and show the way to the unaware what's going on in this country. So with all that said, I'm just going to check. Yeah, Don Ryan says, you guys rock. He's talking about our members. Troy Rubia, he's on right now. Hi, Troy, brother. Yeah, and Linda Russell, she says, I thought the Conservatives Party was the answer. So did I. But look into it. Do your due diligence. They're not saying much different than what the Liberals are saying. You know, so unfortunately, all three of our parties have been compromised. They're all corrupt, and they're all going to send Canada down the toilet. So maybe it is time for a fourth party and a guy like Maxime Bernier, a guy that does have a reputation, that does know what's going on. Maybe we got to stand behind this guy. So like I'm saying, we got a year to find out what's going to happen. But, you know, let's wait and see. Eunice Bailey Miller says they're calling for more attacks on Canada. That's a given, Eunice. When you bring in people that hate you and you bring in ISIS fighters into your country, there's going to be more attacks. I mean, you'd have to be crazy to think otherwise. I like what Don Ryan just said. Support C3. Join today. Be heard tomorrow. Yeah, and Dunn also says, yeah, we were leaving our baggage at home. You know, we're going to this vigil accepting of everybody that wants to join. Dan Unra, I love you too, my brother. You know, that's what this group's about. We've actually made fantastic friends. We're, you know, like Roger Rowan and everybody, we love each other. We stand up for each other. And in our personal lives, we help each other as well, you know. Because we're a big family, we're able to help each other. It's a beautiful thing, this group. It really is. Linda Russell said Danforth, and it's Danforth and Logan, Linda. It's at the Danforth and Logan. That's where we're going to be meeting. You're very welcome, Linda. Ed Jamnisik, the unions helped the NDP, communists, and Antifa. That's another guy. Ed Jamnisik just joined not long ago. He's Toronto captain. So, hey, there's millions of you in Toronto. You want to join C3 in Toronto? Ed Jamnisik is the captain out there. Duke Willis is the captain in St. Catharines. You know, great people. I mean, you know some of these people through Facebook. Yeah, genetically modified food, Roger says. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Loretta Patrick, I'm happy you agree, Loretta. Yeah, and Dunn Ryan says the unions are not helping anyone but union leaders. I know that to be fact because I'm in a union and they're the weakest thing. I tell you, big business is running everything. Canadian banks are owned by foreigners. I know, Linda. How sad is that? How sad is that? Mary Forrest, I want to take down the unions. I feel that way too, Mary. Yeah, Canadian banks are owned by shareholders, traded on the NYSE. Yeah, he's right, Ed. You're absolutely right. So anyways, Cynthia Hill, hi. Hi, Bruno. Linda, Roger. Yeah, I'm happy. Jason Fraser. I'm happy you're on. USA is a sovereign nation. You're absolutely right. So anyways, with all that said, there I've bored you long enough. I'm off. But I hope to see you guys. I'm going to come on live a couple more times this week to promote our event in Toronto. 3 o'clock, Danforth and Logan. Please show up. And this is an event where prayer is welcome. Okay, because our other rally, we got criticized. Why can't you pray on Parliament Hill? Because it was a political rally. This is not a political rally. This is a call to prayer because we're offering our sympathies and condolences to victims of terrorism around the world. So prayer is appropriate today or that day. So anyways, have a great evening, Patriots. Take care.